To apologize because this week is a little off because I'm actually in the middle of moving. So bear with me for these next few weeks because there's so much that needs to be done when you're moving a whole family into a house. So anyhow, on to the subject for today. I wanted to talk to you about meditation versus prayer versus a mantra that you have going on in your life, and whether this is beneficial to you or to me. Now, for me, I feel like we're in a world of sensory overload, and I can only really speak for myself. Everything is super fast-paced, especially when I was living in New York. So there was times where I would find myself just automatically doing multiple things at once. I'd be cooking while looking up the recipe, while searching another subject, while talking to my daughter about school, while on the phone with my husband. So I had all these different things going on at the same time, and I'm cooking dinner, and there's just so much going on, and so that's what I would like to call our minds. Especially women, we multitask like this, but this is kind of like our mind's way of being addicted to thinking. And it takes a thought for me, and it takes some focus for me to do each one of those tasks. So I'm focused and thinking on all of them at once. And I mean, having an addiction to thinking is not wrong. I mean, we all have an addiction to thinking because we all have multiple thoughts going on at the same time. So there's really nothing wrong in itself with thinking. But God, love, peace, and all these synonyms, they actually lie in stillness. So, be still and know that I am God, that type of thing. All these thoughts stringing together can become like little barriers or little walls to love. So, and we exist actually in that, and we exist actually outside of time, and all of these thoughts are taking place in time. So we've decided to put our focus in time, but when we do that, our minds can get caught up in these web of thoughts that easily can block our timeless reality. And it's not something that we consciously do. It's just that our thoughts are usually centered around what we're doing in the world. So they're easily getting caught up in, and we can easily get attached to this. And that's where prayer, meditation, and mantras come in. Because all of these things actually are little tricks that can allow you to finally stop blocking God. And one of the mainstream teachers that I love is Eckhart Tolle. And he speaks about being in the moment, and you just clear your mind and you just notice each moment, even between the words. So you're not actively thinking of anything in between each word, especially when you're talking slowly, which I'm not right now. But I'll link some videos here to some of the Eckhart Tolle things on meditation and how he calls it as, the present moment meditation. And also there's another really good guy that I like, which is Barry White, and he here. Actually, I don't even know what his name is, but I'll just link it below. So either way, this is how meditation works for me, because you're putting it into your mind constantly. So you're constantly meditating each moment because you're doing it in between each word. You're allowing yourself to notice that moment in between each word. And another thing though too is sometimes, there's times where you're just so caught up that you can't even do that. You can't notice the time between each word. Like just now, I'm talking too fast to notice the time between each word. Or maybe you're cooking, and then the next thing you know, things are messing up. Your child's yelling at you. Your son just decided to poop on the floor, and you don't have time to think about anything else. And that's where mantras come in, because these are the times when your mind can immediately go into, oh my gosh, what's going on? I don't know. And then it's like these negative thoughts start coming in. So this is where the mantras come in. Like for me, maybe I'm focused on other things like, oh my gosh, can I afford this or can I afford that? And then I'm looking and searching for something. That's when the mantra, I'm sustained by the love of God, will come in. And if you focus on that and you allow that to just wash over you, this is where mantras can be really good, because it kind of can help to block the thought running and rambling and bring it back to true thoughts, because the mantras are always going to be thoughts focused along truth. So in that respect, mantras work perfectly, and I think they're really important to use as well. And so, with that example with me, I use the mantra, and it just slowly, I chant it throughout the day. And when I know the day is focused on that, it slowly just dissipates the anxiety I have around the subject, because I'm combating it with truth, because the subject is being surrounded by my reality that I have in the world. So I'm combating it with the truth of my reality. And so when you have thoughts, especially around scarcity, lack, fear, judgments, and comparisons, mantras are extremely helpful, because they can be corrected. It can be like a corrective, measure for these thoughts that you have around these areas. And then, so the next thing is, you can really be in constant communication with God, and you can be in constant communication with truth, but that truth is actually outside of reality. So there's really nothing that's taking place here, but in order to have the truth, you have to kind of have a little bit of a both going on. And that's where being in a constant state of prayer works, and that's where prayer comes in, because you may start out constantly talking to God, so you're constantly in communication with God, and then it actually will lead to you constantly hearing God talking to you through your higher self, or which is basically your connection with God. So basically what I wanted to say is, all three forms of connecting to your higher self are very helpful, and they're very needed. And this is just how I use them in my life, because I use all three of them. And really, there's nothing wrong with meditating. Like, if you want to meditate and you want to spend an hour doing it, when I said the moment to moment one works for me, that's good too. And sometimes I do try to meditate for a longer amount of time, especially like in the morning when I'm starting my day out. I try to give 15 minutes, and at night before I go to sleep, I try to give some time too. But the moment to moment one is what you can constantly do all the time, so it's really important to try to have that as well. And anything that you don't make into a crutch, as far as like this specific block needs to be for this, it's always good to have where you can do a little bit of both. And that's why I like to do it every moment, like the present moment meditation, the way that Eckhart Tolle talks about it. But there's also, whatever really works for you is what works. And the best way to see if it works for you, or how each three of them can work for you, is to just try it out. So, just try it out. Let me know how you use prayer, how you use meditation, and how you use mantras. From my heart to yours, thank you.